Central Illinois on the record, more money, more problems. Why the state says schools, cities, and counties need to pay. Plus, state lawmakers are no longer cashing checks. Why the comptroller cut them off. And controversy in Central Illinois as a member of Congress goes head-to-head with a local mayor.
Now, from your local election headquarters, this is Central Illinois on the record.
I'm glad this passed because something has to get out there to these universities.
A sigh of relief for colleges and their students. Welcome to Central Illinois on the record. I'm Paul Cicchini. The General Assembly passes an emergency funding bill to support MAP grants. This bipartisan agreement provides $600 million for higher education. Students have rallied in Springfield all year, including this past week. About 1,000 students use MAP grants at Bradley University. $2 million will help cover the costs. They were promised double that, but the university says it'll take what it can get.
They also feel good because they played a part in being advocates, not only for themselves, but for the other students here at Bradley that this scholarship is so important to.
The bill has been sent to the governor's desk, and Governor Rauner has applauded the General Assembly for passing the legislation. He is expected to sign it. Another superintendent says without a budget, there may not be school this fall. He's not the only one speaking about the issue. The superintendent of Midland Schools is encouraging his and other districts not to open unless there is a budget. His district stands to lose over $1 million from the state. If that's the case, the district would have to rely on reserves and wouldn't last longer than 3 months. The Canton School District is in a similar situation. Without funding, both may be forced to cut programs or close the doors come fall. Even though the superintendent of Midland is going to work for Canton next year, he hopes most districts will take his advice.
It doesn't matter what district I would be employed in. I would recommend that to any district in the state of Illinois that's heavily reliant on state funding.
Midland Schools says the lack of funding isn't impacting construction plans on its new grade school, though. Legislation to offer testing options to students in Illinois passes the House. The bill would provide an ACT option to students who want to take the exam. This comes after the Illinois State Board of Education agreed to a 3-year contract with the SAT. Now, if the legislation doesn't pass, students will have to foot the bill to take the ACT. District 150 says it learned through a release to the media that it owes the Department of Revenue more than $1 million. A tax allocation error means districts across the state were overpaid a combined $168 million. So District 150 is not alone. The city of Peoria owes nearly $900,000, and the county owes more than $500,000.
Our initial reaction was that, just another example of the budget impasse and the challenges that local governments have in Springfield.
Peoria County Administrator Scott Sorrell says the next step is to organize a plan with the Department of Revenue so the county won't be paying a lump sum to the state. The lack of a state budget is costing lawmakers their pay. Comptroller Leslie Munger says checks won't be sent until the impasse is over. As CIOTR Shane Gustafson explains, some lawmakers agree with the move.
Effective immediately, I have directed my staff to treat payments for all elected officials just like every other state payment.
The paychecks of state lawmakers now relies on the future of a budget.
I feel that it's fundamentally unfair for those of us who are elected, including myself, to receive our pay.
State Comptroller Leslie Munger isn't writing checks to lawmakers until a budget passes, but not getting paid is one of the only things lawmakers seem to agree on.
I'm not sure why it took so long for the comptroller to do this.
Certainly one of the best ideas that have come out of Springfield this session.
Lawmakers were back in Springfield Monday and spoke on the phone about the decision, agreeing that it's unfair to keep cashing checks while others are struggling.
Just because you're elected, that doesn't mean you should have any privileges over schools or vendors or mental health facilities or daycare centers or whatever. I mean, this is the right thing to do, and it should have been done a long time ago.
The comptroller says putting money in the hands of lawmakers instead of state organizations makes lawmakers seem more important.
The state is paying members of the General Assembly and our constitutional officers, including me, on time every month, essentially giving us preferential treatment in line of bills waiting for payment.
We hear every day from people who are in a lot of pain, and we understand that we're the ones responsible to get this fixed, and we certainly should be placed at the back of the line.
Both senators agree the cuts could mean more pressure to end the budget impasse.
I hope it begins to put more pressure to get this budget negotiated.
I think that certainly makes it top of mind for a lot of folks in Springfield.
That was Shane Gustafson reporting. Munger's Democratic challenger, Susana Mendoza, calls the action too late and many dollars short, saying Munger needs to stand up to the governor to help pass a budget. A proposal to track your mileage in Illinois is trashed. Senate President John Cullerton decided to pull his proposal. In a Facebook post, Cullerton thanked everyone for weighing in and said he would not move forward with the bill. It would have replaced the current gas tax, which isn't raising as much money thanks to more fuel-efficient vehicles. A plan for a graduated income tax would cut taxes for 99% of people in Illinois. It would raise rates on the top 1% of earners. The plan cleared committee Tuesday and heads to the House floor for debate. Illinoisans pay a flat 3.75% income tax. This measure would tax people based on their income, just like the federal government does.
If you say to 99% of Illinoisans, we're going to give you a tax cut of up to $500 a year, they're pretty happy with that. And that's why over 70% of Illinoisans support this.
The bill's sponsor, Representative Lou Lang, says this so-called fair tax will raise nearly $2 billion to prevent further cuts to social services, pre-K through 12 education, higher ed, and public safety. A report shows the state has lost or could not reconcile almost $4 million from the state's defunct anti-violence program run by former Governor Pat Quinn. An audit found 2 of the programs lost $2.2 million it couldn't recover. A third program lost $400,000. There was also more than $1.5 million that couldn't be reconciled with the documentation. The new director of the agency that oversaw the program accepts the audit and says he will aggressively pursue those reported losses. A program helping veterans is trying to hit its goal to reach hundreds of veterans before Memorial Day. The goal of the Warrior Assistance Program is to help 530 veterans. The program helps with emotional, medical, or legal challenges. The Department of Veterans Affairs is reworking the program to reach a greater number of veterans.
One of the things that we at the Department of Veterans Affairs care the most about is providing mental health care access to our veterans. And right now, it's a huge gap in our veteran population that's not being met.
Thank you, sir. Now, for more information on the program, you can visit IllinoisWarrior.com. It's been a good start to 2016 for people selling homes in central Illinois. According to Peoria area realtors, home sales are up nearly 4%. Group's president, Becky Peterson, says considering the state budget crisis, she's thrilled to see an increase. It's a balanced market whether you're looking to buy or sell, but highest in demand are homes in the $125,000 to $175,000 price range. Peterson says that's what millennials are looking to spend.
I told people, you know, the American dream is not dead. 84% of millennials right now think it's a great time to buy, and they do want to own a home. That is part of their dream.
Millennials often end up buying the boomers' homes, so when they move, Peterson calls it a domino effect. She expects the second quarter to be even better once schools let out for the summer. Illinois Central College has a new president. The ICC Board of Trustees selected Dr. Sheila Quirk-Bailey as its 5th president and first female in the role. Dr. Quirk-Bailey was among 4 finalists. CIOTR spoke with the board chairman following the decision to select Quirk-Bailey.
This will be her first presidency, but after meeting her, the search committee and the trustees were very confident that she will hit the ground running and be just what the college needs to move forward.
Her contract will be finalized with a vote at the Board of Trustees meeting on May 19th. Communicating about conservation, how ICC is connecting farmers across the state. But first, trouble with the water, why Congresswoman Cheri Bustos is launching an investigation in central Illinois. Congresswoman Cheri Bustos is launching an investigation into lead levels in the water in central Illinois. Bustos announced the task force last week on the House floor. She says more than 14% of kids had blood levels above the level where action should be taken. She also spoke about the importance of government agencies working together. Bustos said when there's a serious problem, leaders come together to solve it. They don't point fingers, and they certainly don't deny facts. Government officials at all levels have a responsibility to work constructively to solve this problem and protect our children. The investigation comes as Bustos is engaged in a back and forth with the mayor of Galesburg. The mayor tells CIOTR close to 2% of kids in Galesburg tested for a high level of lead in 2014. His information is from the Knox County Health Department. The Congresswoman's office says its records from the state have conflicting information. She blames water that travels through lead pipes. The mayor of Galesburg says she's wrong. He says the issue isn't a big deal and one homeowners need to fix. He believes Bustos is creating more fear.
This is not Flint, Michigan. We're in no way similar. We've worked with and followed the Illinois EPA rules since 1993, since the Lead Copper Act was put into force.
The Knox County Health Department has not returned our calls for comment. Taking care of the planet is an everyday task for farmers. With Earth Day last Friday, what better group of people to talk to about the earth than farmers themselves? An online interactive map is helping the ag experts across the state share conservation efforts. CIOTR's Rachel Kay gives us a behind-the-scenes look at ICC.
A lot of general population think that farmers, we're just out here planting crops and don't really care about the environment and whatever else, when nothing can actually be further from the truth.
Pete Fondel is an associate professor at ICC, using farmland in East Peoria to help teach students best practices for the business and the planet.
And if they have a little better understanding on how all these practices work, that makes, the future as far as, their understanding of how we can protect the environment, kind of tied right to that next generation that's actually going to be doing that type of thing.
That protection comes in the form of cover crops, water nutrient testing, buffer zones, and no-till practices. Fondel is a state expert on cover crops.
But if we have a website up where people can go look at different farmers that are doing different practices, adopting some of these things on their farm, anybody at their convenience can go out and look at these different farmers and learn about what they're doing.
Cover crops are used in between main plantings, like corn or soybeans, to help stop erosion and nutrient runoff. ICC used cereal rye through the winter.
You're now making it more like a native environment where there's a plant growing there year-round. The microbial activity in the soil is healthier. You have a higher level of organic matter, and all those things then correspond to basically higher yield increases.
Limiting nutrient runoff is especially important when you look downstream.
A lot of this research is looking at how do we take those nitrogen and nitrates and phosphorus out of the tile water or out of the groundwater or surface water, so preventing it from getting into the Illinois River and down to the Gulf of Mexico.
Fondel says Illinois is considered one of the biggest contributors to nitrates in the Gulf. Water quality monitoring stations are set up on the edge of the farmland. This is the first year he's able to collect data, but Fondel says so far the results are promising.
ICC also uses no-tillage practices, which means they leave the cover crop and topsoil in place when they plant the next round of seeds. That helps with erosion and soil moisture. Business is booming in Bloomington, why retailers are flocking to the Twin Cities. And new life for an empty hotel, why local leaders in central Illinois are optimistic about the site's future.
You're watching Central Illinois on the Record.
A hotel closed for renovations, which never reopened, is getting some new life. The former owner, though accused of fraud. CIOTR's Marvis Herring learned new details about new ownership and a much brighter future for the hotel and downtown Peoria as a whole.
Hospitality runs in our blood.
Raj Patel is not joking. His parents and siblings run Hawkeye Hotels. They own more than 60 hotels nationwide with some nearby businesses in Bloomington, Champaign, and Decatur.
My father actually, he's been tiptoeing around Peoria for quite a while.
Now they own the 4 Points by Sheraton in downtown Peoria. After sitting idle for 2+ years, Hawkeye Hotels is shoveling more than $15 million into renovations.
The price tag continues to grow every day. So we're looking to reimagine the front of the hotel, the canopy area, the pool area we're also looking to redesign. And we're looking to bring a really nice restaurant into the hotel.
The company's reimagination well received during Wednesday's Downtown Advisory Commission meeting.
Oh, it's fantastic. And just to hear him talk about, the entrance and the structure and the detail that they're going to put into it. If we have these extra hotel rooms, it'll absolutely let us sell bigger conventions, more meeting space, things like that, that'll bring more people to our town.
To have over 320 renovated hotel rooms right downtown is, sorely needed. It's going to be very well done, high quality, not just a fresh coat of paint and some new carpeting. They're really making some significant changes and have great plans.
When you add up the more than 320 rooms, it's the largest project Hawkeye Hotels has tackled. They're picking up the pieces after another company left, but they're not worried about the hotel's dirty laundry.
It's no mystery that this is a failed project. It's been a failed project over and over again. That hasn't been a burden to us. We went into it with our own strategy. We went into it with our own vision, and we put our own metrics behind the deal.
I think it's going to be a sour story initially that'll have a happy ending.
Hawkeye Hotels hopes to open in the first quarter of 2017. The owners decided to keep the 4 Points by Sheraton branding and expect the construction and opening to create hundreds of jobs. Still to come, finding a forever home for man's best friend, how a new bill would help beagles. And economic activity in Central Illinois, how Bloomington is attracting new business.
You're watching Central Illinois on the Record.
Plans for the Distill Brewery in North Normal are moving forward. The town council approved several resolutions last week, including a plan for the lot the brewery will be built on. Earlier this month, Greg Shepard, who owns land near Rabb Road, threatened the town with legal action if it approved a plan to extend a nearby road. Shepard didn't attend the public hearing last week. The council approved the plan, which it says would allow better access to what will be the new Distill property. The council also approved the brewery's site plans. The company hopes to break ground in the next few months. The Normal Council also approves a contract for $2.5 million with River City Construction out of Peoria to build another platform at the Uptown train station. The platform will be built on the south side of the tracks. The old train station will be renovated to act as a waiting area for passengers with vending machines and TVs. The new platform and station are part of the high-speed rail project, but the town says it goes hand in hand with its Uptown 2.0 vision.
It also plays nicely into the Uptown 2.0 vision, which calls for a lot of new development on the south side of the tracks, and this will help to anchor that development.
Most of the money for the project comes from federal and state funds from the high-speed rail project. Construction is scheduled to start in May. A struggling shopping center in the Twin Cities is getting new life with major developments. As CIOTR's Lindsay Harrison reports, Colonial Shopping Plaza in Bloomington has been mostly vacant for months. But thanks to financial incentives from the city, that's changing.
The plaza will soon have a new name, Empire Crossing. And with that new name is coming lots of new businesses.
All these great national retailers that are currently not in Bloomington or Normal are now attracted to be in the new Empire Crossing.
The former Kmart building will soon be a Dick's Sporting Goods store. Around it, vacant store spaces are filling quickly with retailers like Home Goods, Five Below, and now PetSmart is planning to move into the old Circuit City store.
A lot of retailers have wanted to be here for a number of years. There just were not the right types of spaces available for them or the right types of co-tenants in the shopping center.
Mike Brugge, owner of Ashley Furniture in the plaza, says the large variety of stores moving in will mean good things for his business.
Papa's going to shop at the Dick's Sporting Goods, and Mama's going to go to the furniture store and go look around and see what's at Ashley Furniture. It's a convenience factor.
The city is optimistic this will pay off.
It takes a vacant space and fills it with great quality tenants that will create jobs, increase property values, and also generate sales tax.
Instead of it being a dinosaur dying strip mall, it's now going to be a revitalized, energetic retail area.
Colonial Plaza is home to another pet supply store. We were unable to reach the owner for comment about the new PetSmart moving in. Dick's Sporting Goods, which is expected to open in August, is relocating from Normal. Town leaders there say they're not sure what will be done with the space once the store moves out. The Board of Trustees at Heartland Community College says the school will cut 23 positions, including its athletics director. Nate Metzger is the baseball coach and AD. Parents, students, student athletes, and alumni showed up to speak against the cuts last week.
The way he teaches us is, how every good human should act and live, and I hope they took that away.
A lot of functions here that have been part of the college and part of the success of the college, and it's kind of sad to have to look at this.
The school said last month the move is partially in response to the budget crisis, but is also to position the school in a better financial state beyond 2017. Now, even though Metzger's losing his job as the AD, he will remain the baseball coach. Still to come, a bill for beagles, how it will take them from the lab and put them into a home. But first, a Brain Summit at Bradley. Now you can join some of the brightest minds in the business. Bradley University is hosting what it's calling a Super Brain Summit. It's a 3-day online video conference that will bring together the brightest minds around the world to discuss different aspects of brain health. Each of the speakers will do a 1-hour presentation on a brain-related topic of their choosing. You can watch the talks live online, then participate in a Q&A with the presenter.
There are so many things that we're going to be talking about that help all of us just have better brain health, and also prevention. If we know how to make our brains healthy, then we can also prevent some of the diseases that we're getting.
For more information about the event, visit the school's website, bradley.edu/superbrainsummit. Finally, animal supporters gathered outside of the Capitol last week rallying to save thousands of animals. It's called the Beagle Freedom Bill, and it would mandate the release of dogs and cats from labs after they are no longer needed so they can be placed up for adoption. By partnering with laboratories with local rescue groups, the bill could save hundreds of animals. However, labs and universities oppose the measure.
They have a philosophical objection to bills like this because they don't want regulations. They'd rather self-police. Well, so would I when I drive my car and do my taxes, but that's just not the case.
The Beagle Freedom Project has successfully negotiated for the release of hundreds of laboratory animals from research facilities in 36 states. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Central Illinois on the Record. Of course, you can stay in touch with us using social media, connect with CIOTR and me on Facebook and Twitter by using the hashtag CIOTR, and we will see you next week.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of WMBD, WIZZ, or Nexstar Broadcasting Group.